Okay, we've got the championship game of the Little League World Series, Chinese Taipei against Florida. We're in the 8th inning, extra innings. It's 1-1, bottom of the 8th, nobody on. We have a runner here at second base, and I'm going to play it through, and then we're going to talk about what happened. So here's the pitch, the bunt down the first base line, pitcher picks it up, goes to throw to first, nobody's there, ball goes down the line, and Florida wins the Little League World Series. Now let's break it down because there's a lot of things that happen here. So first thing is we're in a bunting situation. And so anytime you're in a bunting situation on defense, you've got a decision to make. Are we going to try to get this runner out here going to third base, or are we going to just try to get the batter runner out, and then we'll have to probably move the infield in, maybe hope for a strikeout or a pop out, and be able to strand that runner at third. Now if you decide that you're going to try to get this runner out that's at second base right now, you're going to throw them out going to third. Typically what you'll do is called a wheel or a crash play, where both corner infielders, the third baseman and the first baseman, are going to crash and really put pressure on this bunter to where they really don't have anywhere to bunt the ball. If they bunt the ball here, here, or here, we've got defenders in all three areas. And in that situation, sometimes the hitter is allowed to pull back and slash. Now in Little League, there might not be slashing allowed. I don't coach Little League, so I'm not 100% sure. Now the other defense we could play is just a straight up bunt defense where we're going to try to get this guy out unless it's just a terrible bunt. In that situation, the third baseman is going to hold or read the ball, and he's only going to come get it if the ball is bunted right to him. The pitcher will take any ground ball at him or towards the third base side, and then the first baseman is going to crash. And in that situation, as a bunter, you're going to want to bunt the ball at the third baseman to make him try to come up and field it, or at least make the pitcher have to go all the way over here. That's going to move the runner up, and we'll be out at first base. So with all that being said, let's see what happens. So here comes the bunt. And the first thing you'll see is the third baseman is already in view. So he was not reading it. He was crashing hard. And they were hoping that he bunted the ball hard here. Shortstop's going to go over to third base. He's going to turn and throw the ball to third base. But the interesting thing is the first baseman isn't in the picture. So the first baseman doesn't look like he crashed, which doesn't really make sense. And so the ball is bunted perfectly right down the line, right? And now here's the first baseman in view finally. But the pitcher's going to make this play. Now, if the first baseman had crashed earlier, if the first baseman was as aggressive as the third baseman, well, then he's probably picking the ball up like right about now. You can see this guy's already almost at the plate. So he would have probably even picked it up earlier than that. Maybe he picked it up right here. And so it just makes it a little bit of an easier play. But he doesn't. He's a little late to get there. But guess what? It doesn't matter in the end because the second baseman went the wrong way. The second baseman ended up going here. He went to second base instead of going to first base. And this is the weird thing about bunt defenses, because the second baseman, no matter the bunt defense that you run, at least in my experience on every team I've ever played on, the second baseman always goes to first, no matter what. They never go to second. But you know the weird thing is that I've coached and played in games where the second baseman will do the wrong thing. Either they'll go here or they're late to cover. They're like taking their time and then they go, oh shoot, I got to get over there. And by the time they get there, they're there late. But there's no bunt defense that calls for you to go to this base. It makes no sense. We're never going to have a play at second base. If we have a runner at first, well then the shortstop is going to go to second and you're going to go to first, just in case we need to make that throw there. If it's a runner on second base, well, there's never going to be a play made at second base. So the shortstop in that instance, because the third baseman crashed, they're going to go to third base. And again, the second baseman is going to go to first because there's nobody at first. So we're never going to have a throw that goes this way. So no matter what, if it's a bunting situation as a second baseman, always go to first. And it's one thing that I have to do even at older levels. I've coached high school the last 10 years, and I'm always yelling at the second baseman in a bunting situation, hey, make sure you get to first base. But again, he doesn't get there, unfortunately, and the game ends. Now here's the last interesting thing, if we go back real quick, is the bunt is down the line, but look at the runner. So the runner is not in the runner's lane. He's to the left of the lane. And I know they switched the rules in Major League Baseball, but I don't believe they switched it in Little League. If you know, let me know. Again, I don't coach Little League. I don't know every rule when it comes to Little League. And so if the second baseman had gone to first base, well, I would have been interested to see what happens here because this runner's way inside, right? He's not in the runner's lane. they're probably going to collide or come close to colliding. Now, this throw is pretty high. He's throwing it over his head. But it would have been an interesting play if they collide there, or if the second baseman gets out of the way because he's afraid he's going to get hit and the ball gets down the line. Is this runner called out because he's out of the runner's lane? It would have been an interesting call. But again, it doesn't matter because there's nobody there, so there's no one for him to interfere with anyway. So that's all we have. Crazy play, bunt defense. This is for every player. Again, I feel bad for this second baseman right here, but this is for all the players in practice when they're like, oh, we got to practice bunt defense. Well, here's a good example of the Little League World Series, biggest game of any Little Leaguer's career, and it ends on a bunt. So let me know if you have any questions or additional comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification, I'll give a thumbs up, all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you later.